Police, a woman was shot and killed searching for her cheating husband. Now, we brought you this story. It's breaking news. This was yesterday morning. Police say 42-year-old Keiona Wilson was found shot inside a car. It was just outside the Madison Police Precinct. Investigators tell us she was actually shot inside a home.
What would you do if the person you loved collapsed in front of you, gone in an instant, because of a fight you never saw coming? That's what happened to Keiona Wilson. Her life ended on a day that should have been ordinary, but this case is anything but ordinary. The twists in this story will shake everything you thought you knew. And did you know just 5 years earlier, Keiona shared a message that now feels haunting. Here's what she wrote. On this day 5 years ago, we started our journey to forever. She was talking about her husband, Amadea Wilson, a man she loved, a man she trusted, a man whose betrayal would explode into a nightmare no one imagined. Stay with me until the end, because trust me, you won't believe how this story unfolds. And believe me, there's more here than meets the eye. Welcome to Grave Kisses, where love rots, secrets scream, and the dead don't stay buried. Hit subscribe, like and share, if you're not afraid to dig a little deeper. We begin in Nashville, Tennessee, a city that lives and breathes music. Bright lights, big dreams, a place where legends are born. But every city has two sides, and behind Nashville's shine is a harder truth. Rising crime, violence that comes without warning, domestic disputes that spiral into tragedy. It was here that Keiona Wilson, 42, tried to hold her life together. She and her husband, Amadea, also 42, were working through the ups and downs of marriage. Their life wasn't perfect, but they were building what they could. Then came August 25, 2025. That day left a scar on Nashville. This wasn't just a story of infidelity. It was about confrontation, betrayal, and how quickly anger can turn deadly. Nashville became the backdrop for a tragedy no one could have predicted. Keiona's morning began like any other, but soon she noticed something that changed everything. Her husband's car, parked somewhere it didn't belong, behind a house she didn't know. The address meant nothing, but her instincts told her something was off. She looked closer, her unease grew. She wasn't one to ignore her gut. She used her spare key to move the car out front. Still, the feeling in her chest only got heavier. Something wasn't right. So she walked to the door and knocked. Silence. Then a voice crackled through the security speaker. Keiona started asking questions. Her suspicion only grew. Why was Amadea's car here? Who else was inside? Do you think Keiona was right to be suspicious? Or was she seeing too much in nothing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because what came next Keiona never saw coming. What should have been a quick talk about a misplaced car turned into a heated argument. Then it spiraled, fast. The woman behind the door was Keosha Greer, not just anyone. Allegedly, she was the other woman, the one Keiona's husband had been hiding. The air cracked with tension. Keiona pressed harder, demanding the truth. She wasn't ready for what she was about to face. Keosha wasn't a stranger. She was her husband's secret. The words between them cut sharp. The standoff grew heavier by the second, and then without warning, the unthinkable happened. Keosha stood behind the storm door and pulled the trigger. The shot ripped through the air. The bullet missed Keiona, but the message was clear. This was no ordinary argument. This was war. Keiona froze, shaken, but she didn't retreat. She pressed forward. She wanted answers. She wanted the truth. She wasn't leaving without it. Can you imagine that fear, that rush of adrenaline? Keiona just wanted to know what her husband had done, but what she got was another bullet aimed her way. What would you do in that moment? Walk away, or keep pushing? Keiona forced her way inside, and then everything unraveled. The two women collided. It wasn't just a scuffle, it was desperation, it was rage, it was betrayal made flesh. They fought for control, they fought for answers, they fought for everything Keiona thought her life was built on. Then it happened. Another gunshot. This one found its mark. The round tore into Keiona's abdomen. In that instant, the world shifted. A wife, a mother, a daughter, now bleeding out on the floor. The fight for her family became a fight for her life. And the pain wasn't only from the bullet. It was from watching everything she built collapse in one breath. Keiona stumbled free of the chaos. Blood on her clothes, fear in her eyes, her body failing. She staggered outside. Every step was agony, but she refused to stop. She made it to her car. Somehow she drove. Each second felt heavier. Her hands slipped on the wheel, her strength fading, but her will kept her moving. She needed safety, she needed help. The drive was short, but it felt endless. Pain blurred her vision, blood loss clouded her mind, but survival pushed her forward. Ahead she saw it, the Madison Police Precinct, her last chance. Keiona pulled in, desperate. She flagged down an officer. Her body gave out as her words broke apart. The officer rushed to her side, calling for backup. She was taken to Skyline Medical Center. Doctors fought to save her, but the damage was too severe. Time ran out. Keiona's last breath slipped away. She was gone, a wife, a mother, a daughter, torn from her family in a single day, and all of Nashville felt the weight of that loss. But questions lingered. Who failed her? Who should have protected her? What about the family left in pieces? The bullet ended Keiona's life, but the scars stretched far beyond her. Her children, her husband, even the woman who fired the gun, all of them bound to the same dark day. Did Keosha truly understand what she had done? Was it self-defense, or was it something far more sinister? Keiona's death wasn't just tragic, it was a breaking point. And now the question that haunted Nashville: who is really to blame? The investigation began, but clarity never came fast. Detectives questioned Keosha Greer, the woman who fired the shot, but no charges were filed. Not yet. Was it truly fear that drove her, or was there something darker underneath? The facts were tangled, the public split. Some said Keosha acted in self-defense. Others believed it was rage, jealousy, desperation. The truth was clouded, and no one could agree. What would you decide if the choice was yours? Keiona's family carried the weight of grief and the need for justice. But what did justice even look like? Was Keosha protecting herself or silencing the woman who discovered the truth? And then there was Amadeo, the husband at the center of it all. His affair lit the match. But did he ever imagine it would end this way? Could he have stopped it? Or was this disaster inevitable once the lies began? The courts could fight over legal blame, but the emotional toll was carved into every life touched by that day. Keiona's children, her family, even Keosha herself, none of them would escape what happened. This case wasn't only about who pulled the trigger, it was about everything buried beneath, the secrets, the lies, the fractures that no one fixed. Is anyone truly innocent here? The investigation dragged on. The pain did not ease. Some said it was a moment of pure self-defense. Others believed it was years of anger exploding in one violent instant. And as we pull back the layers of Keiona's story, one thing becomes clear. This tragedy was written long before the gun ever fired. Something was hidden in plain sight, and we didn't notice it until it was too late. Look at Keiona's case, and it's easy to fixate on the shots, the argument, the betrayal, but step back, see the bigger picture. This wasn't a single moment of anger. It wasn't just self-defense. It was years of tension, years of lies, secrets, unspoken fears. Keiona wasn't just reacting to the affair. She was reacting to years of neglect, emotional distance that had crept into her marriage like poison. Maybe she didn't see it coming, but deep down she knew. She fought not only for her husband's loyalty, but for her own sense of worth, for the family she thought she had. And when she confronted Keiona, it wasn't just about the affair, it was everything she had lost: love, respect. But what about Keiona? She wasn't just a random woman in the wrong place. She lived in the shadows of someone else's life, quietly knowing what she had was stolen. When Keiona showed up at her door, was it defense, or the breaking point of a battle that had been brewing inside her for years? What would you do if you were Keiona, carrying the guilt of pulling the trigger? Keiona was a victim too, of fear, shame, and maybe even anger. She wasn't just protecting herself, she was protecting a fractured identity, clinging to something that wasn't hers. And when everything collided that day, it became too much. Was it desperation that made her pull the trigger, or years of emotional chaos pushing her to the edge? Amadeo, Keiona's husband, is another piece of the puzzle. He wasn't just the man at the center of this triangle. He allowed the chaos to unfold. He didn't face the truth. He didn't come clean. Why did he let it go this far? Was it guilt, fear, or the weight of living two lives that finally collapsed? Keiona's death didn't just expose secrets, it exposed the fragility of everyone involved. It showed how unspoken feelings, buried and ignored, can explode into devastation. The truth had always been there, hiding in the cracks. Keiona's fight wasn't just about her husband's affair, It was about reclaiming a life she thought was hers. Could honesty have stopped this, or was this tragic ending unavoidable? The legal system wrestles with the aftermath, but the emotional scars last far longer than any court ruling. Keosha, who fired the fatal shot, still faces the reality of her actions. In her heart, does she believe it was self-defense, or does the weight of guilt follow her forever? So what can we learn from this story? It's a warning about honesty, about fragile relationships, about the damage of hidden truths. Is there real justice for Keiona, or is this just another tragedy in a world full of unanswered questions? Her story unfolded in ways no one could have predicted, and as we close this chapter, the questions remain. We have to confront them together. The investigation continues, the court case drags on, and the lives of everyone involved are forever changed. We're left with more than the tragedy of Keiona's death. We're left with questions no one can answer. Could this have been prevented? Could the chain of events have been stopped before it turned deadly? What does justice look like when fear, secrets, and raw emotion take control? And most importantly, what can we learn? Can this tragedy teach us about our own lives, our choices, our relationships? What would you have done in Keiona's shoes? Would you have pushed forward, knowing the consequences, or turned back, trying to save what was left of your family? We all have secrets. We all have fears. Keiona's story isn't just betrayal, it's a warning. How unchecked emotions and unresolved issues can explode into catastrophe. It's a wake-up call. You can't run from the truth forever. It will catch up to you. So what happens now? What should justice look like in this case? How can society prevent tragedies like this from repeating? If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. You don't want to miss the deeper stories we uncover next. Hit that subscribe button, or take a moment to reflect in the comments. Let us know, what would you have done? If you were Keiona, would you have acted differently? Share your thoughts. This is a conversation we need to have.